Funny how it gets.
Thanks for listening to CKMS 102.7 FM. I'm Yenny, and this is The Regime. I'm here with Rosemary. I've been so fortunate to meet up with a group that is based in Cambridge called Freedom Center, and they work to help community members, especially veterans. And today we're out in Galt having a coffee. And Rosemary, do you want to talk a bit about your group and what you have as a vision?
Yes, the Freedom Center actually started over 20 years ago with one of the pastors at the time. At that time, she was just a mother in the neighborhood looking for support for her child, and ended up going to Lang's to try to get some speech therapy for her daughter, and found out that Lang said, "You're not in our catchment area, but we will put you on a waiting list," and she wasn't able to get help for her daughter. Here we are 20 years later, and her granddaughter has now got the same issue, looking for help, and once again is on a waiting list. So the need for a community center in Ward 3 of Preston has always been there. Here we are 20 years later with still no services that are local that people can access, especially with the number of immigrants that have come in and the lack of transportation to be able to get to a center in their area to help. On top of that, there was a vision that came to myself as one of the people that was asked to be involved in the Freedom Center, where I was driving out of Cambridge one day, and the Lord said, go back and start praying for the Freedom Center. And I pulled in the parking lot and I saw the building, and I wasn't the only one that saw the building. 2 years before, the actual pastor of the church at that time, Mark Kitzman, had also seen the building. So when I pulled in the parking lot, I literally called up Mark Kitzman, and Mark said, "Oh, I'm not at home. I'm not in Cambridge. I'm at the cottage." I said, "Mark, I don't care where you are. I just want to tell you, I'm looking at the building. I'm sitting in your parking lot and I'm looking at the building, and it's 3 stories high." And he says, no, it's only 2. I said, "No, Mark, it's 3, and the top floor is for the veterans." And what astounded me is that even came out of my mouth, because I had spent 27 years in chaplaincy work with offenders. So my normal response would have been top floor for people with addictions, mental health, coming out of prison, a halfway house, something to do with that, but certainly not veterans. I have no idea why that came to mind. But since then, we have seen miracle after miracle to show that the Freedom Center has a 2-pronged approach, which has never been done in Canada, where there's a community center on the top floor. We would have 10 crisis units for veterans who are, needing supportive housing for a period of time, for weeks up to a year, to be able to reintegrate back into community. So that's what we've been aiming at and working on since 2019. On the board, we have veterans, we have community members, and we have been faithfully working at putting together plans that allows us to build, which is, again, a God thing. God allowed us to have a church on N1 zoning, which allows us to build a crisis intervention home, and also to realize as we went along, there is no crisis intervention home for veterans in Ontario. We don't even know if there's one actually across Canada. But this would allow for people who are high needs to have the support they need, for those that have served us to be able to serve them as well, and also to provide an area for our community to come in and provide help for one another. Our community is suffering with a sense of belonging on the level of our seniors as well as our youth, and this would be an opportunity for them to serve one another, to support one another, and have a sense of community and belonging. So we just see this a 2-pronged approach that is a win-win for everybody.
That sounds great. And you guys do clothing sales once a month. Is there a specific date, or how do you decide when you're doing the clothing sales?
Yes, along the way, we ended up in a relationship with a man by the name of Mark Tripuk, and shout out to him, who owns 3 Plato's Closets in the Toronto area, Richmond Hill, Markham, and Scarborough. And he allows us, every time he has done with his clothes, to be able to pick up all of the leftovers and sell them and support the Freedom Center. So that happens about every 6 to 8 weeks. We pick up a load of clothes. Some of them are really high-end clothes, and we sell them at this point in time by the bag, $10 a bag or $5 a bag. And so it's not only been a service for the community members, but those that can't afford it, we actually shout out to agencies in the area where they can send clients who can get clothing for free. We also work with Encore Threads, which is in Galt, Cambridge, and they supply us with free children's clothing, which we once again offer for free for families. So we've seen a lot of new immigrants come in, mothers that, one mother said, "I didn't realize I was going to have another child, so I gave all my children's clothing away." Come by and get clothes. Grandmothers getting clothes for grandkids, and that's been a great ministry to be able to offer through Encore Threads. It's great to be able to work with the community to help community.
Do you guys have a website?
We do, www.freedomcenter.ca. Just remember, center is the British way or Canadian way, so it's RE at the end, not ER. But www.freedomcenter.ca, you can see our mission, our values. You can see the agencies that we are partnering with already. You can see a link to our Poshmark site, because we do have a Poshmark where we sell some of our higher end clothes. And that allows us to have the funding to be able to just do our basic things right now, whether it's having a phone or paying for constant contact, our websites, things like that, just to be able to function as we are now.
That's incredible. And what are some of your upcoming events or organization things that you're working on outside of that? This is it? That's a good one, though.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That, Jennifer, you're going to help us.